Hello and welcome. My name is Alan. This was meant to be Wednesday's video, but anyway, today we are talking about misinformation, disinformation. Yeah, all those evils that have fucked our nation up. Because there's so many of them spread constantly that people will cling to like they're Velcro. And it's ridiculous. I bring up this article first because it's from ProPublica, one of the better sources you'll find out there. Senator Ron Johnson endorses discredited doctor's book on a chemical he claims treats everything from autism to cancer. Yeah, Ron Johnson has a history of spreading vaccine misinformation. Now he's giving credence to assertions about the therapeutic powers of chlorine dioxide, a disinfectant and deodorizer. It's all lunacy, one expert said. We have so many of these lies being spread about. Vaccines cause autism? That has been roundly debunked for years. And it's still treated as gospel by some. It's like, no, this has been shown to be a lie. The earth is not flat. We have proven this without even going into space. The Greeks knew it was round or spherical. You know, traveling to the moon was not a setup, was not a filmed on a soundstage thing. We know it happened. Yet, there are those who will refute everything you say because they don't want to believe what you say, even though it's fact. You ask them to research, do some searching, and they'll go to sites that feed them what they want to hear and won't believe the others. There is such an information bias. There's a video by Mr. Beat. He just recently put out, "You're no expert, so shut up." And what it is talking about misinformation. How the spread of it has become so virulent, viral, and is destroying every brain cell this nation seems to have. So many people believe it, even though they're lies. Mr. Beat does a great job of introducing this, talking about this. Great channel. Check him out if you haven't. He knows how to communicate the information. He's great at it. And he's like, we should have experts. We do have experts, but people don't listen to them. Why? Here's a video from Owen's Fireside Chat, another channel I like. Go check them out. You might enjoy them as well. But yeah, he talks about debunking a lot of conspiracy theories. And in this particular video, he talks about Jim Brewer spreading anti-vax lies. Yet these proliferate society so quickly. A lie can spread so much faster than fact. And that is what is killing us in this information age. It's just ridiculous. Here's from the American Psychological Association. How and why does misinformation spread? People are more likely to share misinformation when it aligns with personal identity or social norms, when it is novel, or when it elicits strong emotions. You know, honestly, one of the things we should be doing nowadays, and I'm guilty of not doing it near as much as we need to, but social media sites, whichever one you use, whichever one you prefer, finding a meme, finding a post, what have you, you agree with wholeheartedly and say share without really checking. I've been guilty of sharing a few that I haven't given the time and legitimacy to check. But here's the problem. We should be taking that time. I know there's seemingly not enough time in the day to do anything. But it is that time which we must take, which we must use to verify information, to check it. It's why I say in all my videos, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. If someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to share their sources. There are sources that are more acceptable than others. When I first started this channel, I talked about how Wikipedia was alright, but it wasn't considered a proper source if you look at it from a collegiate standpoint. Because many professors wouldn't like you sharing or citing sources on Wikipedia. And I can understand that, because the site is open source, as anyone can really change it. Now you try to have proper educational figures in the field put the information in. That's one thing that's great about it. A lot of the great majority of the time, it's the proper information, it's correct. There will be miscues and missteps here and there. We know this. We've seen plenty of articles with those in it. But then there's other sources. When you talk about news, your big name news, there is always problems or struggles when citing them, especially in the American media. your Fox News, your MS Now, Newsmax, CNN, Breitbart, ABC, Daily Wire, NBC, who else here? The Blaze, CBS. It don't matter what part of the political spectrum. There will be things that are honest, but then there can be things that are configured in a way that it's like, well, this thing here is truthful, but what you're trying to do to it is not. Or they may add in information that's just clearly wrong. And like I said, both sides can be guilty of doing this when it comes to news. That's why you have to look up so many different sources. So many verifications. A lot of the time, there's stories that you can't find other news organizations, any of the big ones, reporting on. Because usually it's something they don't want to report on. The treatment of Palestinians, of Gazans, by the Israeli military forces. The brutality, the genocide. Often you would see no instances of that being reported, especially early on. Even though the footage was verifiably right there on other sites, other message boards, and say, yeah, this is actual footage captured of what's going on. That's why so many politicians turned against TikTok, because it showed things that, hey, this is what's happening. And politicians were like, shh, you're supposed to be kissing Israel's ass. Shh. But yeah. Sometimes we need to do more research, more verification. And it's just something I wanted to bring to the forefront, because seeing so many videos like this at once just kind of, yeah, we should talk about that. But I just wanted to mention it to you. We'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.